how would you say most people try to close on one call instead of setting it up for two or three? Like I told you how I would look at it, but what are you saying when you have these conversations with people and you realize they feel like they can only do it on that one call? They're not even thinking about potentially getting a second or a third.
So you're saying, what would I say to the people who are just focused on doing the one call close?
Yeah, I mean, there are some people that will say, you know what, they'll get the person on the phone and they feel like they have to close that person on that call. And I'm saying in some cases that's a mistake. And as
Yeah.
someone that's a sales coach, I imagine that you're seeing people where they feel like, well, I have to get it on the first call. And then there's some times where you have to explain to them, like, no, get them on two or three calls. It may be someone that takes a few different times of having a conversation to be able to get them to that same point versus someone where you can get them on a call and then, again, reading the room, you can say, well, this sounds like someone I can close on this call versus this sounds like someone that it may take two or three. Is there a way
Yeah,
that you can kind of gauge that and get a feel for it?
I wanna test urgency as much as possible at the
Nice.
beginning of the call, within the first
Nice.
3 minutes. Sometimes the call don't even take 3 minutes, as you know, but, we
Mm,
really wanna test urgency. Something I like to say is if I have a toothache, I'm reaching out to the dentist today. I have urgency for the
yeah.
dentist, and my dentist is busy. So, I can't just say, "Hey, dentist, I wanna come in today." It could be a while, so, uh yeah, man. I think that the biggest thing with any type of sales process, okay, is people want to make money. So we feel
Mm,
like, oh, we got somebody on the phone, we have to close them now. If we don't close them now, we'll never do it. And stats do say that, oh, it's in the follow up. The stats also
mm,
say is after you talk to somebody that's a warm prospect, the chances of you closing them after that first call is slim every day. So if it's a warm
mm,
prospect, and you got to be into it and read the room enough to know if it's a warm prospect. So let's test that urgency. Let's figure
yes.
out why we're on the phone and if you do have a problem. And if you do have a problem, if you found a solution for that problem and you were comfortable with it, would you be looking to make a decision today? Or are you looking to make a decision later? Where are you at
Hmm.
with things? I want to find out that. That's really my main objective on a first call. My main objective is, you know, making sure you're okay with me reaching out to you and making sure you're comfortable with us having a conversation. And once I know that, I'm moving on to figure out what's the urgency here. Because if there is no urgency and I really don't feel like you're ready to move forward, and I'm not just going to assume that, I'm going to ask questions to get proof of that, right? Because
Hmm.
sometimes we'll assume things and it's not true. So,
Yeah.
look for that evidence, then decide what you wanna do. Most of the time, you're gonna follow up with people. Now, that doesn't mean that you need to follow up with somebody for 2 years if they're not responding to you or they're ghosting you. Cut
Mm,
those people off, but if somebody's having a really good conversation with you, they've really expressed some type of interest, and there's some type of connection, keep in touch.
yeah.
Keep in touch. I have a story I would like to tell if it's okay.
Please.
Okay, so, I'm not gonna give any names, but there's 2 people, okay? And this guy and this woman, okay? Guy and woman is what we're gonna call them. So,
Hmm.
guy met woman at a real estate event, okay? And guy really liked this woman. He was like, "Oh, we need to talk more. We have the same interests. I'd love to go on a date with you.
Okay.
I just love to go on a date with you." They exchanged numbers. She never really, he texted her, like
Mm,
very consistently, but she never reached out back. Like she never said, "Let's
mm,
do it," nothing like that, right? Then one day, months later, her life was in shambles. Everything was bad. Nothing was going well. None of her friends were giving good advice. Work was sucked. Guess who texted her? Guy. Hey,
mm.
still interested in going out on a date with you. Guess what happened? They go on a date. Guess what happened? They hit it off. Guess what happened? They got married.
Nice.
Happily ever after to this day, right? So, I mean, that's a story that has so much truth to it, whether you're in
Mm,
sales or it's just a relationship you're trying to build. Success is in the follow up, Sean. And
yeah.
if we don't keep going and keep asking for that date, we might not ever get married. So
I love it because you not only took it from the importance of a follow-up, but you made it universal. There
yeah,
were a couple of things that I heard in that. One, there's a difference between a no and a not right now.
yes,
Not right now can just mean that, again, you wanna know what people have going on in their lives, and they're not necessarily ashamed to tell you what they have going on.
Yeah.
Like people will tell you if you ask them the questions and you genuinely seem like you're interested. If it's something where you seem like you're interested in what they have going on, most people will tell you. And if they're not willing to tell you, then that's a telltale sign of, okay, so your guard's still up. And then you can kind of continue through the call or say, you know what, I'm working harder than I need to be able to have just even get the basics. So then that lets you know how hard you would have to work to be able to get that sale. There are some sales that, you know, it may seem like a good prospect, but if you have to work that hard to be able to get that sale, and then there are other people that are more warm leads, I would rather get 5 people that can total up to that one than to chase that one and not get any sales at all. So, I think
Yeah.
those are some of the things that people wanna be able to look at. And then it's also like you said, it's being able to read that situation and go, "You know what? Where are you right now?" And asking the right questions because if it's something where you do connect with that person and you feel like there's some kind of vibe. I've made that mistake in the past, and this is one of the reasons why I say I'm not a good salesperson because I've had some people that were ready to give me their money, and because I'm someone that's very much an account manager, I was going into, well, here's what the next process is going to be, and this is what this is going to look like. And I've literally had some people have to stop me and go, you know what? I don't even need to hear that part. I just want to be
Yeah.
able to get the process started. So, like, how do
Amen.
I give you my money so that we can get to the stuff that you want to be able to tell me? And you can tell me that after we actually get all of this stuff on the books.
I love
I
this.
think that's the difference between some people of being able to read that situation and go, you know what, now's not a good time versus now is the time to be able to close. So you actually have to listen. Like you said, if someone's a warm lead, if you feel like things are going in the right direction, you say urgency. I will say one of the things that I've described it as is prioritizing it.
Yeah.
If it's a want, if it's the difference between a want and a need, if it's something that somebody wants, they may get around to it, they may not. If it's a need and it's something where they have that sense of urgency of, no, I actually need this now, you have a better chance of being able to close that on that call or sooner than later. So I love that you were able to talk about the sense of urgency. Gauge that when you get them on a call, gauge where their head is at. Like, is this something where you're distracted because you're trying to put out a fire? Maybe the thing that I'm trying to help you with would help you put out that fire. So that's why
Yeah.
you actually ask that question because if they're struggling with something and they don't know what it is that you're trying to sell, but if even if it's by extension, you're able to help somebody with something, don't rule out having referrals. Sometimes the
Yeah.
thing that they're struggling with, you might know somebody that can solve it. And by helping them put that fire out, you lower their barriers and they'll say, you know what, you helped me with that. So now I actually have time to be able to hear you out on what you want to be able to cover. So I think
Well,
there's a lot of ways to be able to get to that goal and make sure that you're able to get done what you need to get done. But it all comes back to, are you trying to close on one call and not reading the situation? Or are you realizing, you know what, this is a call I can close. This is a sale I can close on the first call. Or are you setting it up to be able to get that second or third? And when you can figure that out, it makes the rest of the call go so much smoother and so much better. So, yeah, I love that you were able to cover that.